What is an adult problem that nobody prepared you for? Having to not only make important decisions by myself, I expected that much, but also having to do so in a timely fashion uninhibited by indecision. I feel like my life is ruled by indecision. Are you sure? The death of the elder family and your rising name on that list. I was just ruminating earlier today with my station. It feels like I was 20 just yesterday, but then suddenly I have an adult daughter, I've buried grandparents and a parent, and now more voices turn to me than I can turn to myself. Deciding what's for dinner every night for the rest of my life. Wait until you hear about 2 other meals that exist in the day. Vegetables die too soon in the fridge. Don't get me started on those effing bananas and their 18-hour clock. Put the veggies in a sealed container with a piece of paper towel on top of them. The paper towel absorbs moisture and you'll get several extra days before the veggies go bad. Back pain. Everything hurts. The inevitably of your parents dying. My dad just passed away and I'm 25. No one could have prepared me, I guess. I feel you. Mine passed away back in August when I was 28. There's nothing you can do to prepare for it, and I'm afraid I have no magic words to make it better. Just know you're not alone. I'll never say it gets better, but it eventually starts to suck less and your hard days get a little less frequent. I'm so sorry. I can't wait for it to suck less. Hate that it happened in the first place but can't change it now, I guess. I am really sorry for your loss as well. I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm 33 and lost my dad at 19. It doesn't really get easier, but you kind of get used to life without him, eventually. I still have tough days. Please take care of yourself. The incessant flow of bills, phone, water, electricity, insurance, rent/mortgage. Also, college debt. Oh, and dental care. Kurt Vonnegut had it right when he said the trouble with getting older is you outlive your teeth. Even if you take perfect care of your teeth, every time you chew, you're grinding your teeth together and a tiny bit gets worn off. If we ever figure out immortality, one of the side issues will be that around the age of 100 you'll need to go in and have all your teeth removed and implants installed. Even worse, they'll eventually need to replace the cartilage in every joint in your body. Either that or find some way of making cartilage heal. The realization that $1,000 is not a lot of money to have, but it is a lot of money to owe someone. It's like calories. 1,000 extra calories is easy to eat in one day. Cutting 1,000 calories from your day on the other hand. Aging parents. My defining moment of adulthood was standing in a room picking out my mother's casket. I was married with 2 kids by then, but this is the moment I truly felt like an adult. There's a dialogue in a Telugu movie that I saw. In that scene, an early 20s guy was telling his dad how his mom irritates him sometimes. At that point in the movie, the dad's mom was sort of missing. So, the dad says only until our parents die we can be children. When they die they take our childhood with them. That hit my dad pretty hard. He was newlywed when my grandfather died. Edit. I've never been through losing a parent, and I dread that day that it happens. But the best I can do is offer you guys a huge hug from a random Redditor. Edit 2. Yes, this is from Oh Baby. That's one sobering quote and eerily accurate. Becoming a caregiver for my mother and eventually having to settle 2 estates was something I wasn't prepared for. Wait, now I have to make sure you have food, I'm cleaning up after you, doing your laundry, etc. Not sure how you prep for the parenting role to reverse over time, but it can happen. I intellectually knew my parents were aging, but I recently walked face first into something that made me actually face it. My dad has always organized his garage to within an inch of its life. I went into his garage the other day and it was a disaster. I knew he had been diagnosed with some dementia, but I didn't see it until I actually saw it. God, that hit me like a truck. I'm so sorry. Thank you. We are dealing with it, but I'm really afraid of what this will look like in 15 years. Right now, it is just that and sometimes repeating the same story while we are visiting. I don't live there anymore, so I don't see the day-to-day like my mom does. One of the worst parts is figuring out when he needs more help than the family is able to give. We knew my grandfather would need to go into assisted living, but it always feels like too soon until you realize you've waited longer than you should have. Best wishes with you. Enjoy the lucid times and treat the other times like an improv. This is great advice. Also, I'd recommend asking your dad to tell you stories from his life and write them down. When he's in a bad way, those childhood stories will be great avenues to conversation. When my mama had Alzheimer's, I would just say, remember when you ate a bite of your one-room school teacher's candy bar, and she'd proudly realize she knew this story and tell it. I heard her stories many times. And even more when she had Alzheimer's. I cherish every single telling. She passed November 30th, 2020. You're in for some frustrating times. Try to find the humor in it if you can. I found humor in the fact that I could actually cuss around my mama once she had dementia. Edit. I've never received gold before, but it's fitting that talking about my wonderful mama would be the reason I did for the first time. She was tough as nails, funny as all hell, smart, a comeback queen, a worrywart, and the most nurturing woman I've ever known. Reckon I'll mourn her for the rest of my days, but I'm so grateful for my 40 years, almost, with her. I was very blessed to have her. Wouldn't bring her back for 5 minutes. She's resting peacefully, and if faith means anything at all, she's happy. Most faithful woman I ever met, literally. Thanks for giving me gold just for talking about my favorite lady, Vonetta Bell. My dad died. No one preps you for that. It's crazy how you grow up thinking they're your world, and then life goes on. This has been my 2021. Losing my dad made me feel so much older than I thought I was. It sucks. This one has really hit me several times in the last decade or so. Just looking at your folks and being struck by how much they now look like your grandparents used to. The last time I stopped home, I realized that both of my parents now use canes to support their mobility. I knew they were aging, and I knew they each had different knee problems in the recent past, but I hadn't seen them in person in a while, so I had no idea. It was pretty sobering. After not seeing my dad in over a year due to the pandemic, I finally got together with him and my stepmom a couple of weeks back. The changes I saw shocked me. Last time I saw him, he was the same way he always was. This time he required a cane to walk and walked very slowly. He needed help stepping up over a curb. It was just such a huge change. I'm a man in my 40s and I literally spent the entire drive home crying. They keep repeating the things and you have to be patient while being enthusiastic when listening. When my elderly mom does this, I remind myself that there is a day coming where I would give anything in the world to hear one of these repeated stories again. Same. My dad is notorious for telling the same exaggerated stories over and over. It can be hard to listen and give him the reaction he's looking for over and over. But I know there will come a day when I would pay money to pretend to be shocked by his stories, so I go through the motions every time. After losing my father at 61 to a sudden heart attack, I am terrified every time my mom has any kind of minor health problem. She's 63, overweight, and on basically every medication in the world. I can't describe to you how much mental capacity I reserve for the dread of something happening to her. Lost my dad at 61 when I was 18. Lost my mother last August when I was 24 and she was 65. She wasn't overweight but was on a lot of heart medication. Spent a Friday night watching episodes of Better Call Saul with her and talked to her in her room before she went to sleep. Next thing I knew, she was calling my name to get a bucket at 6 in the morning because she needed to puke. Called an ambulance. She was dead at 9:30. It was a brain hemorrhage. Unreal. My mother was the most important part of my life and she was my best friend. I have friends of my own and a girlfriend, but only people who've lost one parent can truly appreciate the bond that forms with the one who is left. It's been a terrible 8 months since she passed, but I've survived. You will too when the day comes. But before it does, cherish it. You will anyway. I was in much the same situation as you, constantly worrying. And that's a good thing because you might spot something before it becomes something very dangerous. But enjoy the good times with your mom too. Realizing that is really terrifying. When to call a repairman and when you can amateurly fix it yourself. When to know a tradesman, plumber, auto mechanic, dentist, etc., is scamming you or actually doing their job. You want to give them the professional benefit of the doubt too, but crap happens all the time. Do I really have to be a Renaissance man in order to properly vet someone to do what they say they're going to do? For me, it's a time/cost balancing act. My sprinkler system was acting up, so I looked it up on YouTube and found the parts. Parts were $60, and then I realized I'd need special tools for this one time and the thing needed to be rewired. When I got a quote for $200 to fix it, I realized that was the better deal rather than paying close to $100 for materials, my whole afternoon, plus the chance of me screwing it up and getting upset. What's my time and hassle worth factored into my true cost? Sometimes it pays to DIY, sometimes calling a pro makes more sense. This answer right here should be at the very top. Exactly the rule any homeowner needs to live by. We have an electrician we trust who's done great work for us in the past. We asked for a quote from them to replace the fan in our bathroom since the one there was squeaky and dying. They quoted it at $900. We bought the replacement fan for $50 and installing it ourselves took less than an hour, including deep cleaning all the relevant surfaces. How much time you spend just doing stuff. Oh, need to replace my tire and that's over by the store, so while I replace the tire I can do some errands and I'll save time and be home in no time. 3 hours later, okay, just one more errand before I head home. Also, how putting off a small task just a couple days in a row can quickly amount to a longer chore/responsibility later. I can just leave this in the sink, get to it later before bed. X 2 days. Why is this grime caked onto this plate still? I've been scrubbing for 10 minutes straight. And when you have free time to do something fun, you're too mentally exhausted from doing all the things you have to do that you waste free time half watching TV and half scrolling through Reddit. My parents took my kids for an overnight last week for the first time in over a year. I finally had a night off to do whatever I wanted. I fell asleep on the couch. You can never have one night off from kids. You need at least two. I think. Maybe it's one night of recovery, and one night of fun, and maybe another night of recovery. Never had that much. But I know one isn't enough. You are spot on. Take my upvote. I only had one day off this week, which was today, and I wanted to clean my apartment so I could enjoy relaxing in it. After vacuuming, mopping, dishes, laundry and cleaning the bathroom here, I am lying in bed scrolling Reddit. Didn't go for the walk to the park that I planned to because I was tired after the chores. Feels like I haven't had breath of fresh air in a week. Actually, I will say that the best thing I managed to do today was make banana bread. I guess this is adulthood. You actually did a hell of a lot on your day off and you should be proud of yourself. Careers. As a kid you hear what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's always nurse, doctor, fireman, game designer, etc., which is all so simple. But then when you do start training/working in that career and you realize you don't like it. It just feels like such a terrifying thing to now have to think of a new career identity. I'm pretty sure most of us spend a lot of time working through this crap. My career isn't viable, what do I do? And come to the conclusion that yeah, it actually does make you more sane working in a shop or whatever, than going home at night having paid the bills and not stressing. It's the realization that really takes time. I missed my calling. Still don't know what it is though. It's tragic. Why can't I be an archaeologist and have a financially stable life? You're an archaeologist, and you're surprised your career lies in ruins? Nice dig, he will have to dust himself off after that one. All the laundry. Good grief, does it pile up? This is how I feel about the dishes. I will never live anywhere without a dishwasher again. I run one load a day. Where they all come from, I have no idea. But dishes never stop. Oh my god, my current apartment has no dishwasher and I just want to die, every day. I am literally counting down the days until I can move in a place that has a dishwasher again. And I use laundry time as time to listen to and find new music, that way it doesn't feel like as much of a chore to me. But sometimes I wish there was an automated process like a conveyor belt from my room that went to the wash, came back and threw another conveyor into my drawer, automatically laughing out loud. Controlling your finances. Everything I have learned about budgeting, Debt recovery, pensions, saving, and wise purchases I have had to learn for myself. The endless cleaning. I had chores when I was a kid, but I had zero clue how much actual work went into keeping house. I cleaned my house this morning and by midweek, it'll be a war zone of pet hair, crumbs, and dust. I don't even have kids. WTF, it's like the underpants gnomes show up when I'm asleep and F my house up. When I was a kid I thought people who hired maids were lazy, but I understand now. If I had the money, I would hire a maid. I made fun of a friend that started getting someone to come in and clean their house once a week. They then proceeded to ask me how much time I spend per week cleaning my house, and reminded me that they now spend next to no time cleaning, only tidying up. And also pointed out that if you can afford it, then literally what you are doing is buying time back to be able to do something you'd rather do. Not to mention you are now supporting someone's business and way of life. We now have someone come clean every other week. My kitchen sink only stays clean for a couple of hours, and then it's full of dirty dishes again. It's so frustrating how a completely clean kitchen only stays that way for like half a day. It's a never-ending mess in there. You telling me I got to make food every day? Often multiple times a day just to stay alive? I've been putting off going to the grocery store to get some ingredients all week, because I'm a lazy F and I live out in the country. I heard a piece of a radio show on the future/past/ how things have evolved when it comes to sustenance/feeding ourselves. How women in the late 1800s used to spend 8 hours a day just cooking, and I thought, holy crap, no. No. At first, I was thinking that sounded insane. But women in the late 1800s all had like 50 kids and no refrigerators, so I guess it makes sense that they had to make huge meals every day. How much harder it is to make friends. I kind of feel like if you hadn't already made some good friends by 25 to 26, you'll end up stuck with superficial friendships. Yep. I see my superficial friends hanging out with their best friends, and I noticed that almost every single one of them had known each other since birth/elementary/middle/high school. The few that didn't know each other from that knew each other from college or the military. I didn't have the luxury of making friends during those years, and I'm here in my mid-30s now trying to make and maintain friendships. But it seems like everyone else's best friend slot has already been filled. I met my closest friend when I was 36 years old. I would punch a bear for that woman. I'm still confused AF. I thought adults had their crap together. Literally everyone is just pretending to have their crap together. Human lives are held together with duct tape. Edit, this blew up. Thank you, everyone. For those saying it's pessimistic or learned helplessness, I disagree. In my opinion, it means that everyone struggles with some parts of life and you shouldn't beat yourself up about not doing everything perfectly. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.